Tonight, on Coffee Time with Craig, he gets super naked.
So welcome back from Cayuga, Chad. I was hoping that you'd be able to share with our viewers some of the impressions you have from your drag strip experience on these fine motorcycles.
I'm excited to be here because it was quite a day, very fun. I enjoyed it a lot.
When you look back on that day and the riding you did, do you feel like there is a standout bike among the three?
They were all really great bikes. The one that I think stood out the most to me though was the KTM. It was a very quick bike right out of the box. I jumped on it and I was immediately doing runs that were like personal bests on any naked bike, like right away. To jump on that after doing all those fun runs on the R1M and immediately being where I started with the R1M, I was like, well, that's not bad. So,
Square one again.
yes, but it did have a really good first impression on me.
And when you were riding them, did you feel like there was one that, like this one being your favorite, but was there one that seemed more in line with drag racing than the others?
That's tough. If you want to talk about which one would feel right, well, the other Yamaha was the most predictable bike to ride. Like, it was really easy to get off the line, kind of get down the track, going through the gears and all that without too many upsets or anything like, oh, I think I might have been able to get more here, more there. I think that one I was pretty consistent right away with. However, I wasn't as fast with it.
So when we go to the opposite end of that spectrum, which was the most challenging of the drag strip?
Well, the Monster was definitely living up to the Monster name. I found it, I wanted more time with it, to be honest. I think that there was a lot of potential there to be quick. It had that Ducati snarl that got me kind of like worked up. And had a page interrupt us.
That's true. So we're speaking a little bit about the ferocity of all three of these bikes. There are electronic suites on each of them to kind of tame that a little bit. Where did you run the electronics on each of these bikes during your passes?
Well, that's actually a really great question, and that may answer the previous question because we did dial all the electronics off. I found the bikes more predictable to run because I do find in a racing environment running the electronics is somewhat disconcerting actually, because you either get a really subtle correction to what you did or a complete intervention, and we turned all those things off and then ran the bikes naked.
Right.
Yes.
If you were to have to pick one to take home to your garage, which would it be?
Ooh.
And if that goes for home use or for the drag strip, and maybe it's the same bike for both.
That's a tough one. They are all so good in their own ways. I think it really comes down to my love for Italian machinery that's going to make that decision for me, because I probably end up on the Ducati just because I've always loved what Ducati's been doing with their products. Ever since I was introduced to them, like 20 years ago now, I was on my first Ducati. So the Monster lineup has been really good as an all-rounder and the kind of bike that I would want to own in order to enjoy, the best of both worlds.
Is that given the fact that they are all hyper powerful naked bikes? That's mine. You've already mentioned which one you would own as your personal motorcycle given the choice. You're racing for pinks. Your bike is on the line. Which of the three of the bikes are you going to pick out of your arsenal to save your pride?
I think that's a pretty simple question for me to answer. It would be the KTM. It definitely felt comfortably fast. Like, I right away was able to achieve great times on it. I really feel that at the end of the day, if I got as much time as I could on all those bikes, I would absolutely do my best on that.
So, and I know everyone always looks at horsepower numbers, but you mentioned the wheelie-prone nature of the MT-10, and I guess we have to look at the torque figures as well. You're looking at over 100 pounds-feet of torque on the KTM, around 90 pound-feet of torque on the Ducati, and an 82 on the MT-10.
Yeah.
So maybe those be the more telling numbers.
That's interesting because that does kind of get me where I was saying that Ducati didn't feel at a disadvantage. I think the KTM is a bit of a ringer, just all around a very fast, powerful engine. When you're hitting those speeds on a naked bike and all that power, because it's still pulling like a freight train when you cross the line. So you're tucked down, you got all this wind pulling on you, the front end feels like it's like barely touching the ground, even as you cross the line. So it's like, yeah, it's pretty exciting. This is actually a great class of bikes to race because they are so visceral. It was a lot of fun though, and I really appreciate the opportunity to do that. It was incredible.
Yeah, it was a good day, head by all.